whose man owned a factory.
I am a woman, born of a woman, whose man labored in a factory.
I am a woman whose husband wore silk suits and who was constantly watching his weight.
I am a woman whose man wore tattered clothing and whose heart was constantly strangled by hunger.
I am a woman who watched babies grow into two beautiful children.
I am a woman who watched two babies die because there was no milk.
I am a woman who watched twins grow into popular college students who summered in Europe.
I am a woman who watched three babies grow with their bellies stretched from hunger.
But then there was a man. And he talked about the peasants getting richer while my family got poorer.
And he talked about the days that would be better, and the days were better.
We had to eat rice.
We had rice.
We had to eat beans.
And we had beans.
And I felt like a woman, or a peasant.
And I felt like a woman.
A peasant with a dull, hard, unexciting life.
Like a woman with a life that sometimes would allow a song.
And I saw a man.
And I saw a man.
And together we began to plot with the hope for a return of freedom.
And I saw his heart begin to beat with the hope of freedom, at least
someday, the return of freedom.
Someday, freedom.
And then,
but then,
one day, there were planes overhead, and guns were firing close by.
There were planes overhead, and guns were firing in the distance.
I gathered my children and went home.
I gathered my children and we ran.
And the guns moved farther and farther away.
But the guns moved closer and closer.
And then they announced the return of freedom.
And then they came. Young boys, really.
They came into my home with my man.
They came and they found my man.
Those men whose money was almost gone.
They found all of the men whose lives had almost been their own.
And we all had drinks to celebrate.
And they shot them all.
The most wonderful martinis.
They shot my man.
And then they asked us to dance.
And then they came for us.
Me.
For me, the woman.
And my sisters.
And for my sisters.
And then they took us.
And then they took us.
They took us to dinner at a small private club.
They stripped from us the dignity that we had gained.
And they treated us to beef.
And then they violated us.
It was one course after another.
One after another after another, they came at us.
We nearly burst. We were so full.
Lunging and plunging, sisters crying, sisters dying.
It was magnificent to be free again.
It was hardly worth it to have survived.
And then we gathered the children together.
And then they took our children.
And he gave them some good wine.
And they took scissors.
And then we gave them a party.
And they took the hands of our children.
The beans have almost disappeared now.
The beans have disappeared.
The rice, I've replaced it with chicken or steak.
The rice, I can't find any.
And the parties continue, night after night, making up for all the wasted time.
And my tears are once more joined by the midnight cries of my children.
And I feel like a woman again.
They say, I am a woman.